Okay, the history of libraries, part one, or at least my take on the history of the institution that's employed me for a good part of my adult life, and apparently is your goal as far as employment goes. People ask me occasionally what I find so interesting about libraries, and I always say, God, it's a vast source of entertainment. Think about the stuff inside the walls of brick and mortar, or stored away on our digital storage media. As the old saying goes, so many books, so little time. Libraries are also very much a product of their times and culture. Nothing reflects on a given time and place as much as the place that holds the records, the entertainment for that culture. As you will see later in the course, there is sometimes a tension between what librarians or keepers of books feel a given society should be reading and what they do read, but we'll get to that a bit downstream. There are a couple of things I'm trying to get across this week. First, and I'm relying a lot on the text for this, is the idea that people have been collecting, preserving, and storing written communication material for a long time, even when the stuff being stored doesn't look much like your typical library book, as you'll see in a little bit. Secondly, I want to spend some time simply talking about the technology of the book as we know it. For the last 50 years or so, we've heard vast amounts of rhetoric about how technology is changing the library with all sorts of prognostications that this, that, or the other thing will happen, and libraries will either go away or never be the same again. All of which is probably true, except for the going away part. That simply isn't going to happen. The point is that technology has always affected the way civilization records and stores knowledge and information. There have been periods of relatively slow or gradual change. In some ways, the library land that I entered back in the 1970s had been relatively stable for a good number of years. Certainly, the library land of the last 20 years has been anything but stable. This week's lecture looks at one of the really fundamental changes, not only in library land, but Western civilization in general. The coming of the book. What Gutenberg wrought in mid-15th century Germany had profound effects on everything. We're not going to get into a broadly based survey of Western civilization. I hope you've done that already. But I do hope that you see at least some of the implications of that long ago event. The lecture and the discussion board await. Onward.